Lex Luthor is evil. I'm not sure that's a surprise to anyone, but I'm going to word this. He's wrathful, greedy, gluttonous, lustful, and most importantly, prideful. The most important things to Lex Luthor are his pride and his ego. Those two things motivate every decision he makes. There's a monologue in Superman Birthright issue 9 that's really stuck with me since I've read it. I've spent my entire life searching for a civilization higher up the evolutionary ladder than the knuckle-draggers I was unfortunate enough to be born among. Well, you finally showed up, and given your first chance, you deliberately humiliated me. You looked at me like I look at the ants. You don't get to do that. Period. You might be a little confused after that if you don't know the context, so let's start at the beginning. Superman Birthright is a 12-issue maxi series written by Mark Waid with art by Lionel Francis Yu. Birthright strives to reimagine and modernize the origin of Superman. Birthright certainly isn't the first time this has been attempted, though. Over the years, there have been many origins for Superman, such as Action Comics issue 1, Superman the Radio Show, Adventure Comics, Superman the Movie, Man of Steel, and more. But Superman Birthright does something interesting and completely retextualizes the relationship between Superman and Lex Luthor by making them childhood friends. Lex Luthor was a social outcast. His genius-level intellect made him distant from the people who surrounded him. The only person Lex could be friends with was Clark Kent, whose compassion let him see past Lex's rough exterior and form a genuine connection with him. Lex Luthor was raised in a difficult environment. Although wealthy, his father Lionel Luthor didn't particularly care for him. Lex believed himself to not have any place in the world. Everywhere he went, he was rejected or ignored. Without any support system to rely on, and so much failure, Lex immediately resorted to fix the raids when something went wrong. Such as when the metal detector Lex spent months building designed to detect extraterrestrial life started beeping at Clark, Lex started crying and destroyed all his stuff, thinking it didn't work. After this, Clark and Lex are driven apart, and Lex Luthor's ego finally takes over. When Clark goes to visit Lex a week later, Lex invites him so that he can be a witness to his great discovery, his evidence of extraterrestrial life, kryptonite. When Clark is exposed to the kryptonite, as you know, it affects him, and as it's affecting him, Clark accidentally makes a face. Now, since Lex doesn't know how kryptonite would affect Clark differently, he lets this one moment bring out all his anger towards the world that's rejected and belittled him, and he lashes out at Clark, yells at him for seeing like the freak everyone else does. How dare Clark Kent look down on Lex Luthor? He grabs him by the collar and throws him out of the room. And when Lex uses a machine to access knowledge about the extraterrestrial, the machine explodes, taking his hair, his father, and his life's work from him. And after this, Lex Luthor was never seen in Smallville again. Years later, when Clark Kent meets Lex Luthor again, Lex acts as if he never knew a Clark or Smallville. This is because he used his wealth and his influence to remove any trace of Smallville from his name. Ironically, even though Lex critiques Superman for not being human, Lex himself rejects his own humanity. Lex Luthor is above some small town like Smallville. Lex Luthor is above humanity. Lex Luthor is above everything and anything. When Lex Luthor first met Superman, Superman had traced Lex down by connecting him to a helicopter attack in Metropolis. Lex Luthor finally meets the extraterrestrial life he'd been searching for his whole life, and it scolds and humiliates him. Lex finally cracks the code with the kryptonite and discovers Superman origin before he even does. And with this, he uses an image. I'm sorry, I'm messing up. And with this, he uses an images of an. I'm actually so. And with this, he uses an image of an ancient Kryptonian warship to fake an incoming Kryptonian attack in the media. And now this takes us back to the monologue at the beginning of the video. Superman as a character represents hope. He's a man with all the power in the world who's dedicated his life to creating a better tomorrow. He's our hope for what the world could be. He's our hope that everything is going to be okay. Lex Luthor as a character represents hate. He's a man who's let ego and spite define his whole life and has let himself give into his hateful desires, transforming him into the worst version of himself. In the final moments of Superman Birthright, Lex Luthor weaponizes Superman's symbol and fakes an entire Kryptonian invasion of Earth. But Superman's bravery and hope lets him take down the invasion, regain the trust of the people, and take his symbol back. Lex Luthor is arrested. Even though he probably won't be in prison for long due to his wealth and influence, Lex Luthor will never be the same, because his ego has finally been shattered.